Dina, I'll start with you. You've written extensively about antitrust and what that could mean from a big tech perspective. What do you think of the president's comments just now, and do you think there could be a case to be built here in the U.S.?
Sure, thanks. I mean, I think the focus is going to be on Facebook and Google. They both have very dominant positions in niche markets. For Facebook, it's social networking. With Google, importantly, it's advertising technology or ad tech, which is the piece of technology that publishers use to sell ads online. It's also online search. And in those markets, they have a very dominant position. And they're, the FTC and the DOJ are probably going to start looking to see if conduct in those markets can be labeled as exclusionary.
Michael, do you agree? How do you think this plays out?
No, I agree with her completely. But I think one of the things we need to remember that antitrust is very fact-specific and case-specific. And so I do believe the agencies are going to look closely at big tech. But I think it's going to be much more drawn out and sort of in the trenches and details than people think. I just don't think we're going to see these sort of sweeping wholesale changes or breakups that some people are talking about.
Dina, do you think we could potentially see a breakup, whether it's, the siphoning off of the App Store at Apple or some of the other, or the unwinding of previous acquisitions like Instagram and WhatsApp at Facebook?
Perhaps, but I think from a shareholder perspective, the greater risk are other sort of remedial measures that could come from an antitrust perspective, like interoperability or cross-posting from one social network to another, or a reining in of the data practices. Those sort of fundamentally form the core of Facebook and Google revenues, the data practices. And so if you have wholesale changes in the way that data can be used between the different divisions, that's a much greater risk to their revenues than is breaking up the companies.
Michael, is there any reason to think that the antitrust law that has been written and is on the books here in the U.S. needs to change?
I think there is, because, I just said I think it's unlikely we're going to see companies broken up, certainly when it's organic growth that's being unwound. We may see some mergers that are going to be revisited. I think Facebook, WhatsApp is on everybody's list as something to think about. But I think what's important is to understand it's not that somehow, I think at least, that the FTC screwed up before, but it's very hard in the U.S. to bring a case to block a merger where the two companies are not yet head-to-head competitors. And so I think we need to think seriously about legislation that changes the standards, that makes it easier to block mergers, and particularly in the tech area, where maybe the companies aren't competitors today, but they're each other's likely competitors in the future, and maybe the best hope of displacing Facebook, for example. So that's where I think we need to see some legislative action.
Dina, I'll put the same question to you. Do you think the laws need to be changed or will be changed?
I don't think that the laws need to be changed right now for us to see cases brought against these companies. I think that we have something going on in these markets, and it has to do with how complicated they are. Many in the industry joke that they're more complicated than the financial markets. You have multiple exchanges. The exchanges can buy one off of another. You have arbitrage between the exchanges. They are highly technical markets. And I think we're going to see a period now where regulators need to catch up as to how these markets are really working, to see, as Michael said, the fact patterns. And we'll likely see scrutiny on specific conduct in these markets that competitors have been complaining about for some time now.